Hey everyone, this is Meghna, the co-founder at Teen Chapter. At Teen Chapter, we are building a holistic teenagers community where we not only provide internships, webinars, courses, conferences, and sessions, but also feature stories of teenagers who have their own startups and who got into leading universities of the world. So today we have Aarav Garg, the founder at Tech Nuttiez. Hi Aarav, how are you doing?
Hi, Meghna. I'm doing really good. What about you?
I'm doing amazing. So without any further ado, tell our viewers a bit about yourself, where you're from, what you study and all.
Right. Hello everyone. I am Aarav, and I am 16 years old right now, and I'm also in my 12th grade of school right now in India. So I live in Hyderabad, and I am the founder and CEO of a startup, a student-led startup called Tech Nuttiez. What we do basically is we are trying to educate the youth on technology. So we have a mobile app, wherein the youth from around the world can come over. They can, hundreds and thousands of students are already on the app where there's a community that is being built. We have a lot of exciting content on the app. There's things like quizzes and rewards and all of that. So we're trying to build a community of global youth interested in building things out of technology.
Okay, that sounds amazing. And I've never come across such a community built by a teenager for high schoolers and other teenagers. And why did you start Technities? Do you have like a background story? What's your inspiration behind starting a youth-led organization specifically focused on tech?
Right. It actually goes back to when I was in, fifth or sixth grade. I was around 10 years old. So at that time, in our school, for the first time, coding was introduced, which was actually something very different from what we would generally learn in school or even in computers. In the subject of IT, we would learn PowerPoint, Word, Excel. That is it before that, right? So it was the very first time that something exciting was actually introduced, and all of us were quite pumped up. And as soon as that was introduced in our curriculum, I gained a very massive inclination towards technology, and I was not satisfied by the curriculum that we had. So I the only option I had, so my parents are not from a tech background, so the only option that I had at that time was to use the internet. So that is what I did. I came back home, I browsed things related to programming. We learned language called Q Basic. That is quite an old language. It isn't used, but it was just being taught to us as to form a basics in our mind. So I, try to learn that. I built complex stuff in that. Then, when I was, watching a few videos on YouTube and stuff, there's this section called recommended section, which takes you places. So I, got recommended videos of few robotics, AI, machine learning, and things like that. And that is how I built my first robot. And then, as I got better at building robots, so I started in around 2016, and then I kept building robots for a year or two. And in around 2018, when I had built a couple of robots, I had programmed apps and websites and things like that. I thought that I should also give back to the community of self-learners on the internet, from where I had learned all of the stuff that I had learned. So in that direction itself, I opened up a YouTube channel with the same name, Tech Nutties, to actually make videos and tutorials on building robots and other science and tech related projects. So I started to create videos, tutorials of how to how to build robots, etc. And then I got a pretty good response. So one of my initial videos right now has over 100,000 views. So it's like that traction and that comments of people telling that I had helped them to build something was really motivating, and that kept me going. And then as we gained more and more traction, and we got better at doing stuff, I over a period of time I realized that to scale it, a channel would not be enough. So last year we actually incorporated it as a startup. Plus, we launched our own app, which I talked about earlier, wherein there's a lot of other features which obviously a simple YouTube channel could not provide. So a lot of community and ecosystem building features are there in the app, which we're leveraging.
That's amazing because 100,000 is like a massive number that you've reached to, and your journey is amazing. Like you started with YouTube channel and then a community. So that's kind of like a really strong foundation that you laid for the community. And why did you come up with the name like Tech Nuttiez? What is, do you have any story behind the name? And what does it mean?
Right. So I've given so many interviews, but I guess this has been asked to me for the first time. So I kind of don't have any story for the name. So it's just that I wanted tech to be there in the name, and also just add some cool looking word. So we were just brainstorming words that would look cool attached with tech. And then I was just trying to also check if the names that I was coming up with existed or not. So I was actually doing that with my parents, and like even they were giving inputs and stuff. So I guess my mom was the person who actually gave the word. So the like I so it's like it was first going to be Tech Nutty, I guess. It was actually Tech Nutty for some time. And then I guess there was something else that we figured out existed with that name. So we kind of changed it to Tech Nutties. But that was not that big, the other thing that existed, but we still wanted to be very different. So we changed the name to this, and now like we're very different, and there's no name with that name, and the name is really catchy as well. It represents tech as well, so we went ahead with that name.
Okay, that's amazing because even with Teen Chapter, we thought of a lot of names, but then we couldn't really. I mean, a lot of what I thought was taken already. So Teen Chapter was not taken, and Teen Chapter really resonates with what I want to do, what my vision is, and all. And recently, I've seen that you launched your podcast as well. So, uh, how do you reach out to people for podcasts? Because I think your first podcast was from someone who's an IS, if I'm not wrong, IS or IPS, right? And then in our last
Yes.
interaction, IS, okay. And then in our last interaction, you mentioned that you have an upcoming podcast with a unicorn um, company's founder. So, how do you reach out to such people, and how's your journey been like with the podcast?
Right. So that is a very recent thing that we have started. So we just have one episode out, again with the same name, Tech Nutties Podcast. So the main aim behind actually starting the podcast was to, first of all, leverage a little bit of network that I had built and have conversations with people who are like really good at what they're doing, who are who have a lot of experience in the whole startup and technology ecosystem, to kind of to kind of bring that together and give that to our the viewers who are teenagers in a very simple and in a very useful manner, so that they get the most out of what those people know. So this was the main aim behind starting the podcast, to get their info down to our viewers in a simple manner. So and again in that I knew a few people which I had built contacts with through physical events, through networking that I had done in Hyderabad itself and things like that. Plus, once I start getting people, I anyone that I approach, I just show them or tell them why why them coming on my podcast would provide a lot of value to our viewers, and would kind of help them a lot in a way. So just showing them that kind of a reason to actually come on our podcast, drives people to come over.
Right, got it. Got it. You mentioned that you are building a community for people who are interested in tech, right? So, why should someone join your community? What are some things that you offer to your community members?
Right. So, as I told you, in our app, we have a lot of exciting features as well, apart from the general content that we have, which very talented teen writers again put out. So, we have a lot of exciting features which would kind of engage a lot of teenagers. So, we have quizzes, firstly, which kind of gamifies everything and creates that kind of competent atmosphere in the community that we have. So when people compete in those quizzes, or for that matter participate in any kind of events that happen in the app, they get an in-app currency that we have created called T-Bucks.
Okay.
So that in-app currency is like the gold for our app, which the users can then once they collect an enough amount of them, they can kind of redeem them to get cool offers and rewards from their favorite brands. So we've tied up with brands like the Soul Store, Boat, Akudo, we have Rapido, we have Oven Story Pizza, Fazos, etc. So we've taken some of these cool brands from various industries, and they're mostly startups which teens love right now in today's day. And we've partnered with them in a way that they provide offers and rewards to the users who actually redeem those T-Bucks.
Okay.
So this kind of also incentivizes them for learning, because the quizzes are again based on a lot of content that we put. So it's like if they consume the content, they have an upper edge over a general person. So it's like they're getting incentivized for that extra effort that they're putting into kind of learn stuff, learn something new, right? So because it's something that wouldn't be in your general trend, like because if there is an edtech app that is teaching you probably physics, chemistry, or maths, that would be something that a student would come on to because it is required for them, or maybe because they're not able to cope up with their general curriculum and stuff like that. But in our case, we're trying to teach them something that is out of the box, which they technically do not require as a rule, but it would be a really good add-on to their skill set. Right. So for that kind of topic to actually be learned by them, it is very important to incentivize them so that they get that initial boost of and motivation of kind of going forward. And once they get in, if they have the interest, they'll obviously keep learning that and keep building stuff. So that's the kind of incentivization that we do as well. So we're trying to add all these features. Plus people can also submit their content, their projects, which we can feature in the app. So we're also trying to give recognition to people who are either creating projects by using our tutorials or creating innovations on their own. So we're also providing a platform or a stage for them to like come up and show their work to the world.
Right. And that's such an amazing way to engage your community members. And you mentioned that you've partnered with Soul Store, Rapido, Store, So how did you partner with them? What is the background process? Did you cold email, or do you know anyone from that company? So how did you reach out to them?
So we have around 12, 13 brands right now, and every single one of them was through cold mailing or cold calling. So I did not know any of the founders or employees before that. It was all cold mailing people and just trying or hoping to get a response from them. So fortunately, we were like, very successful in kind of cold mailing them and getting the brands on board. And we got like all the 12, 13 brands within a span of 2 weeks. So we kind of went on a very big like cold mail rush, and then we got a lot of responses from people, and it was like slowly building up. Once we get an initial set of brands, it also sets a threshold for other brands that brands are interested in you. So getting that initial set of brands is really important because to the first brand that I spoke, right, I did not have any kind of credibility in the brand market or to show them that we are worth collaborating, right? So it's just that the convincing power that you have is all that would play for the initial set of brands. And then as you move forward, there are brands in your closet already that you can show to the other brands to acquire them, right? So that also is one thing.
Okay, makes sense. But it's a great achievement that you were able to get 12, 13 brands in like a span of 2 weeks. So how many cold emails did you do? Like, did you do like 1,000 emails in one shot, or?
No. I did not do 1,000 emails in one shot. So if I got like 12 to 13 brands, I just wrote like 20 emails. That's it. I did not do a mass email thing because so I believe in writing very, very personalized emails depending on the person. Because see, it's like if I write 1,000 emails, I wouldn't probably have got even one conversion. But if I, let's say, spend 10x the time in writing every email, it's like my accuracy or the efficiency or its probability of getting a response goes from like 10% to probably 80-85%, right? So because it's getting personalized, and so these people, they get a lot of such emails every day, right? Because there are like so many people finding out their emails and sending them emails about stuff. So why would they actually reply to my email? So for that, I need to send them a very, very personalized email showing them why I want exactly them. So in the email, it should like feel that I've done like complete research about their brand, about the person who I'm writing email to, and only then am I writing the email so that it feels very much personalized.
Okay.
It shouldn't feel like a newsletter being sent to them by some brand.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned that you went to a lot of networking events, or you met a lot of people in Hyderabad and even did some online events and all. So, what are your tips for a teenager who wants to network with people, who's just starting out but like wants to network with people? What do you tell that or suggest that person?
So the first most important suggestion that I would give is to create a LinkedIn account, because that is like something that gives you a lot of opportunities. It helps you meet a lot of new people as well. Like pretty much all the opportunities that I got in 2021 were like completely through LinkedIn. So I literally got 2 TEDx talk invites through LinkedIn. So
Wow.
it's like LinkedIn is very useful if you're able to show people what you are doing. You're going to get a lot of opportunities out of that. So right now we live in a world where people should show others what they're working on, constantly working on. It's not that you build in secrecy and then let the success pay off. Work and silence thing doesn't work right now. It's like you need to show every part of your progress out to the world, and also maybe share your learnings out of that. Share some of the suggestions that you would have from your process. So it's like you do that so that people get to know what you're working on. And if that happens, you could get opportunities out of thin air at any moment out of in time, right? Because people know what you're doing. So if let's say there's a person, okay, so if there are two people in a class, okay, and one person has a startup, a teen startup, who wants to hire a teen coder,
Okay.
and another guy in his class is a coder.
Hmm.
He who's also in a teen, obviously, is a person who codes really well, but both of them barely talk. Plus, they are like, both of them are really bad at networking, whether it be physical networking or online networking, they're really bad at it. So, though they meet each other every day, they sit probably beside each other in the classroom, they'll still not be able to find the right person who are each other of them, right? So, if they would network, if they would just, probably talk to each other, their problem would be sorted. So, it's like there might be someone who is actually waiting for a person like you to find them, but because both of you or any one of you is not networking, is not actively showing others what you are doing, because the guy in the class who was kind of hiring for the coding role did not know that a coder exists, because the coder never showed his work out to the world.
Got
If
it.
that coder would be constantly putting out his work to, let's say, his friends, his classmates, right, then that person would automatically come to know. Even if he wouldn't be talking to him, he would know that there's a person in my class who codes, who builds these really cool apps. But that guy never bothered to like put out his work. So the person who was hiring for him kind of never got to know that there's a person like that in my class. So it's like, though they existed there, but because no one put out, and even the guy who was hiring never kind of told people that he has an organization, he's doing all of that. He just tried to build in secrecy, talk to a very, very limited number of people about that. So the coder also did not know that there could be a position that I could apply to. So it's like there was this gap, though the positions existed, though there was opportunity in both of the places, but because of the people not constantly putting out their work, the opportunities could not be utilized.
Got it.
So this is a very important thing, that people should constantly keep putting out their work on some platform. LinkedIn is the best for that. And then they should try to network with people, connect with people, randomly talk to people who are having mutual interests, and then, slowly build a great network.
Right, right. I agree with the fact that LinkedIn is the best platform to connect, because when I started off at LinkedIn, I was trying to actively connect with a few corporate companies, the founders, and all of those. So I got my first paid internship through one of my connections at LinkedIn, and then I went work. So it was a great experience. So I think even I suggest everyone to get on LinkedIn and all. But a follow up question to this, because you're a grade 12 student and you have an amazing startup in hand and you do a lot of other stuff, and how do you balance is the first question. And number two, do you face any pressure, not from family and friends, but a mental pressure, that you need to do much better, or do you face such pressure, you don't face it at all? And if you face, what do you do to like overcome it?
Okay, got it. So yeah, it's a very complicated task, to be honest, to like manage stuff, and especially now that 2021 and 2020 it was all online, so the amount of classes are less, plus there's no travel time, right? And obviously we all know that in 10th grade nobody used to listen to social classes. So you have things like that which you can kind of utilize in an online education, but in offline it's like the classes are long, plus there's a lot of travel time involved as well. So now it's like even tougher. So
Right.
it's like I kind of try to prioritize stuff. Okay, the first and foremost important thing is that I try to note down everything. I do that in obviously not using a paper. I do that using some sort of an app to save my reminders, to save the events that I have. Google Calendar is very useful for that. So it like helps you keep a track of the things that you have to do so that you don't have to remember them. So you get notifications when you have to do stuff, so you can kind of focus on what you're doing at the moment and not think about what all you have to do, because that is jotted down somewhere and then you can forget about it.
Right.
So that is a very important thing, because a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about what to do. So we have a lot of time, but it's like if we do not kind of waste time, then we can be really, really efficient, in doing whatever we want. Obviously, it's like, see, if I'm doing both things, I cannot do both of them at a very, very good level, but I can still try to maximize the efficiency by not wasting any time, and following things like prioritizing stuff, jotting things down so that I don't have to waste time on thinking what to do, right? So
Right.
things like that actually help to like maximize the efficiency out of the time that I have got. So that is really helpful, and that is what I kind of do. It's like, obviously I'm not the best person at managing time because I already have a lot of stuff to do, so it makes it even more complicated. But I still try to maximize the efficiency with all of the time that I've got by thinking if everything that I'm doing is kind of worth doing at a given point of time. So I try to not waste time and just kind of prioritize what I have to do at any given point of time.
Got it. Got it. And coming to the follow-up question, do you ever feel the pressure to succeed, or whenever you see your best example, LinkedIn connections or your network, they constantly post such a toxic platform sometimes. So how do you overcome that pressure if you have any pressure?
Oh, that's a controversial thing. Yeah, I mean, on LinkedIn, people post a lot of stuff. So, but then when that happens, when I see people's posts, it's like I kind of think that if I see that, if I don't see that or see that, it wouldn't affect the fact that it's happening. Like, because people have been achieving a lot of stuff for a lot of time. But now it's just that on platforms like LinkedIn or other social media platforms, people post a lot about it, which is actually good. Like I just talked about that, right? Because they should keep posting about it so that people get to know. So obviously a byproduct is like people feeling inferior and people getting that inferiority complex. But the fact is that I try to recollect this exact ideology that it revolves back to, because I think that if I would achieve stuff, even I would be posting it.
Right.
So it doesn't affect the fact that anyone achieving the something does not affect me, because I am achieving my different set of things and they are probably achieving their different set of things, which is like good for both of us. I mean, if it was the same competition that another person won in and you two had participated, then it's like you'll obviously feel bad. Like that's human nature. But that is very rare, right? It's like mostly people are posting and talking about their achievements, which are generally in different fields. Like if their startup is growing, does not mean yours cannot grow, right?
Right.
So if they are achieving a lot of success in their startup, it means they are doing something good with their startup. And if yours at that time is not growing, it probably doesn't mean you're competing with them and they defeated you in a race. It means that you're doing something wrong with your own startup and you're not running it the way it should, right? And it's not even necessary that if they are running it in a way, or let's say, so this is another thing, right? So students are doing a lot of things to get into US colleges.
Right.
So if one person, let's say, joins or starts an NGO, another person on LinkedIn is like, "Chalo, main bhi ye karta hu," because probably that is another way that I can add it to my profile, or it gives them another idea to kind of increase the stuff in their profile. So that is another thing. So it's like, it should be that when you achieve things, you will also be posting about them, and you'll probably be posting about something else. You'll be posting about your success and about how you did something correctly, which went right, and then you succeeded in something. So it's not that you're competing with them. So I don't think that there's any reason for you to feel bad, because people have been achieving a lot of things since ages. That's how innovation is happening, development is happening, because when that happens, anyone achieves it, right? So if there's development happening in a city, okay, the administration of the city will post on social media that we did something good, so the city got developed. If a company is growing, okay, the person involved with that company, everyone involved with that company will be having the right to post that their company or their organization is growing. If there's a competition, or if there's an invention that is happening, the person who invented that will kind of post. So it's like any kind of development growth happening around us will lead to people posting about their success, because any innovation that's happening is a success for somebody, right? So that is something you need to understand. So it's not necessary that you're competing with them. They'll post or they'll talk about their success when they succeed. You'll probably do that at other times as well. So it's just different timelines.
Got it. Got it. And so Tech Nuttiez is at like a good position right now. So did you guys receive any investment, or are you guys looking for funding in the future? What are the future plans of Tech Nuttiez?
So for now, I'm in my 12th grade, right? So right now, it's like, as you told, I have a very, very heavy study load. So obviously we're going a little conservative, a little slow. We're just trying to build the community, and then like probably in 1 year's time, we'll be growing very rapidly, trying to launch a lot of new products. Maybe we could be looking to raise investments also at that time to like support the new products that we try to launch, or the new spaces that we get into. So it could be a future thing. We haven't raised any yet, but we could do that in the future. Plus, we would be like trying to skyrocket in growth in the next year or something like that.
Okay. Cool. And if you raise investment, I mean, if you're going for it, good luck, because I know you're building an amazing community and product. And do you have any advice for viewers watching this video, or any advice in general for students or someone who's interested in tech?
Right. So the advice that I give probably everyone, I mean, at the age of being a teenager or being a high schooler, is that they should kind of follow their passion. So so right now we live in a world where everyone is kind of following their passions, reaching their heights, scaling heights, because of technology. So there's no resource barrier. The only barrier between you at any age fulfilling your passion is your own interest. So whether you want to learn cooking, whether you want to learn robotics or dancing or skating or anything for that matter, there's like so much of information and for free on YouTube and elsewhere, right? So if you kind of utilize that and just try to learn it, it's very simple, and you'll very easily be able to kind of follow your passion, kickstart things, and like kind of climb the success of ladder in your own area of interest as well. So the only thing that I would like to say to students is kind of not to wait for like engineering, because see, so we are trying to do that as well with technology. So because almost everyone anyways becomes an engineer in India, right? So we're trying to do what we are trying to do is kind of educate the students who are interested in technology at a very young age. So it's like, even if they become an engineer, they'll become a very better engineer, and they'll probably become a more successful engineer than an average engineer, because they'll have way more experience than anybody who graduates and becomes an engineer. Like for example, I've been coding since I was 10, and I'll become even I'll do BTech obviously, so I'll probably graduate by the age of 21, which means I'll have 11 years of coding experience as a fresher. So if like a company at 21, I won't go for it, but let's say if I'm going for an interview in a company and people are like, how much experience do you have? I'll be like 11 years. They'll be like, you're 21 years old, how's that possible? So that's the whole point of it, right? Because starting early gives you an edge over others, and there's a lot of resources for you to start early right now as well. So it's like, just browse things on the internet, explore what you can do with your passion, and try to follow it. And don't wait for completing a process or probably completing graduation and then learning coding and things like that.
Right. That's an amazing piece of advice. But I would genuinely hope, whenever I ask people, a lot of people around me, they were like engineering or medicine. But I genuinely hoped some people that I meet at least say I want to get into something different. But I agree with the fact that, even if they want to do engineering, it's better that they learn and become a better engineer with all the skills and stuff that's available on the internet.
Yeah,
So
because you imagine, like, if there's so many engineers floating around in the market, there should be something or some experience or maybe some skill that you get by experience, which will kind of help you get different, and which will differentiate you out from the crowd, right? Will separate you from the crowd. So that obviously experience helps you a lot in like getting that separation from the crowd. So if you start early, and if you know that you're anyways going to become an engineer, if you start coding early, get more experience than probably the other 1,000 engineers that are going to come into the market, you'll be having a very, very big edge over them.
Right, right. My dad keeps on telling, if there are like million people doing the same thing as what you're doing, then how are you different? What are you doing differently that will set you apart from those million people? So yeah, completely agreed with your advice. And yeah, we've come to the end of the conversation. It's been great talking to you, Aarav. Do you have anything to add?
No, I guess it was really good talking to you as well.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ara, for being part of the interaction. And thank you, everyone who stayed till the end. And we'll see you again in the next conversation. Have a great day ahead.